Eastern Studies and Arabic. From the University of Chicago, Emily offers a global perspective on how the arts affect individuals and cultures near and far. She has volunteered and worked with youth in Holland, Zealand, Chicago, and Lansing for over 20 years. Emily is delighted to be a part, executive director, of CultureWorks, where creativity blossoms into careers and where students are encouraged to grow holistically, physically, mentally, spiritually, and relationally as artists. And we're really happy that Emily and students are going to tell us more about CultureWorks today. It's one of our community partners, so we're really happy to hear about that today. Thank you, Emily.
Good morning, and thank you so much for inviting us here today. It's a joy to be among you. My husband and I have been part of this church for several years now, and it really is a delight to be part of a community that so values arts and culture, and that also really practices things like social justice and seeking accessibility in your daily lives and also as a congregation. So I just appreciate you all and appreciate your support for CultureWorks and for our students. I'm going to run through a little bit of background for those of you who might be new to our work, but spend a lot more time today talking about updates. It has been quite a year for us as a small arts nonprofit, as I'm sure you know. And then I'm going to invite our students up front for questions and answers because I want you to hear directly from them. It's a joy to have you guys here today. So, a little bit of background. A little trivia. We'll see how awake your minds are this morning. Does anyone in here know what year CultureWorks was founded and by whom? Feel free to throw up a hand or give a shout. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary this year. 2011. So it was founded in 2011, 2010, 2011, somewhere in there, by a group from Getty Church. They really wanted to have a community space where kids could come from all walks of life and experience community together and grow through the arts. So that picture on the left is from our first space, which was outside of Getty Church. That was our green space. It was a parking lot. We used it a lot for our classes. The space on the right is our current studio space on 6th Street, downtown Holland. All right, approximately how many teens do we serve in our multi-week classes year over year? Any idea?
200.
Oh, that's really good. So yeah, typically up until this past year, we've served about 200 enrolled in those week after week classes throughout the year. And we serve about 1,500 other students throughout the year through large gatherings, through small partner events, and community-wide celebrations. But the 200, right, has been kind of like our core, and that's really who we pour into and build relationships with. This year, we had 175 just this summer. It's been a lot. We've over doubled the enrollment since June. So we will see what this year holds. I am guessing it'll be about 350 this year, which is really exciting. Photo on the left, if you all remember Abby, who came and talked with me about a year and a half ago when I was here. Abby is sitting there. She was our intern at that time when we went to visit Community College for Creative Studies in Detroit. And then the space on the right is one of our open studio classes in our studio. All right, our budget this fiscal year. Throw out a number. What do you think? We have 2 full-time, 5 part-time employees.
200,000.
Huh. That would be impressive that we could do all of that with $200,000. No, but we have been at that $200,000. So it's a little bit of a tricky question. So we had set out this year in June with 3 budgets. And the reason we did that was because we had no idea what state and federal funding would hold for us this year. So we set 3 budgets. 2 of those budgets had significant cuts from last year. So it was really a heart-wrenching thing to do. But I am happy to say that at the end of 2025, we closed out December strongly aimed at the 3rd and largest budget, which is about $300,000, which is what we had last year. So super excited about that continued growth that we're able to do. On the left, that was our original space, and the two leftmost folks were part of our original Student Advisory Council. They were foundational board, or members of that, and then they also both joined our board as adults. And so we love seeing that, full 360 in growth that they've been able to have at CultureWorks. Photo on the right was a community partner workshop we did with IM Academy a couple years ago. We love partnering with over 20 different community partners and nonprofits. All right, this is my final one, our mission and vision. I'm guessing probably no one here knows that. Students, do you know our mission offhand? They're still waking up. All right, I'll give it to you. The crew on the left there is our first Student Advisory Council. And the crew on the right was from about a year ago, our Student Advisory Council. So that group has grown from 12, I think 8 at that time, but 12 over the past 2 years to 16, so also a lot of growth there. So our mission is to cultivate creativity, build community, and empower students through affordable, accessible, transformative arts education. And we do that in order to foster wholeness in a fractured world. We believe in that idea of shalom, that God is reconciling and creating and making things new. And so we lean into that with our vision that the arts are part of that in creating wholeness in our community and in our kids' lives. We firmly believe that art can change minds, minds can change systems, and systems can change lives. This is a quote from Delita Martin, one of my favorite artists, and we used that as a jumping point for a workshop that we did with IM Academy a few years ago. I made some beautiful artwork that's now in their new space. So exciting. Our values this year have become even more important. That is in part because 3 of our top 10 values have become triggers for defunding at a federal level. So it was a little bit hair-raising to think about those this year and think about and redefining them, clarifying them, coming up with the reasoning behind them so that we can be really clear about how we talk about these values in a wider community. So our values are accessibility. It's really why we were founded, to make the arts accessible to all teens in our community. There's a huge disparity in accessing arts education in our community, and I'll talk about that in a minute. We believe strongly in inclusion and belonging, creating a space where all kids feel like they are welcome and celebrated. We strongly value excellence, and that is the tools we use, the materials, the equipment, how we teach our students, excellence in manners, so on all the different levels. And we value holistic growth, as Jane was mentioning in the introduction. We really do try to see our students thriving mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically as young artists and creators. We value ecological sustainability, so we look at how we source materials, we look at how we utilize resources in our budget and in our everyday existence as artists, and how we can do that in a more ecological way. We strongly believe in career advancement and paid opportunities for artists. This is huge. I don't know if you know that, like, the average salary for an artist is about $30,000. It's not a sustainable salary or income. We are trying to change that. So our starting wage for high school interns is $15 an hour, and we pay living wages to all of our employees. That's important to us. But even with those living wages, it's really hard to afford healthcare right now. It's really hard to afford a place to live. So we're struggling to increase education and awareness around supporting artists as important parts of our culture and creativity in our society. We strongly value youth-adult partnerships in leadership, and I'll talk about that more in a few minutes. We value empathy and respect for people and space. We value creativity and self-expression, and we value wonder, curiosity, and experimentation. And that last one's really important in the how of what we do things. We don't teach drawing skills so much as we teach kids how to see better, how to see things differently, how to ask really good questions. We're more about that side of things, so yeah, these guys can talk more about that later. There's a quote at the bottom that says, "I haven't had the chance to take any art classes so far in high school, despite my love for it, and I feel like this could be a great opportunity for me to finally get back into art, specifically ceramics." There was a new student this summer, a low-income family. As I said, there's a lot of disparity in our community. We have one public school district that has AP art and IB art, and everything in between, huge studio spaces, gorgeous, lots of funding for the arts. We have another district in our community that has not AP art or IB art, even though the students have asked for both. And in order to take those art classes, they have to go through one after another, and you can't get to ceramics until you do the other ones first.
I don't know what IB is.
Oh, I'm sorry. So International Baccalaureate, is that what it
Okay.
stands for? So it's an internationally based AP sort of accreditation. Yeah. So it's slightly different in the art that is offered in those classes and in the rubric and how it is taught. So they offer both, which is really fantastic for those students. But we brought a student to U of M Stamp School for Art and Design 2 years ago. She was up for a Promise Scholar Foundation scholarship, so full ride scholarship to any university. She had applied to U of M Stamp School of Art and Design, which is highly, highly selective. I gave her probably a 30% chance of getting in. And like in my mind, I was like, it's crazy. And she came from Holland Public Schools, so had very little access to the arts. So we brought her for a campus tour. We talked with the folks there, and the recruiter said, we didn't know that Holland Public Schools existed. Which is not a great thing, right, for an art school to say, yeah, we didn't know that you existed. So we explained to them about the disparity, about the lack of access for these students. We pulled her her application that day when we left, and she not only ended up getting in, but she got that full ride scholarship. So she's there studying right now, which is tears to my eyes. Pretty amazing stuff. All right, last time I was here, we talked about the impact of arts on our physiology, on our emotional life, mental development. So I've listed those again here, but what is interesting is this past year, we've been tracking mental health in our students through surveys since 2017, and this past year was the first time we saw a significant drop in the number of students who were saying that they were experiencing or being treated for ongoing depression, anxiety, and stress in their lives. It went from 75% of our students down to 55% in the course of 1 year, and that was with 71% of the students who are returning students. I mean, as a sociologist, that gets me kind of excited. I haven't gone back through like survey by survey to figure out which kids are which kids, but I think that's pretty exciting, and maybe we're on the cusp of something, turning a corner as a community, or maybe it's just that the arts are working, but I think that's really exciting. So over the past year, through the state grant that we had, we participated in a study that MSU conducted. They surveyed 198 students of ours and 88 parents and caregivers. And I have a whole packet of data that's in the back. It's also linked on the sheet of links back there if you want to look it up later, if you like data like me and David. But we found that our programs positively impact academic success, mental health, and social emotional learning. On the right is just one of the little breakouts that they have for us. And I think that's really telling of the success of our programs, that they're really relationship-based. That's what our students say. So 100% of students who were surveyed said adults here care about me. 99% said I can tell the adults here about my problems. And 95% said this program helps me make new friends. That brings joy to me because we really do, we build this program on relationships. We believe in that incarnational ministry and mentoring. Those of you who have studied the adverse childhood or the effects of adverse childhood events know that having a caring adult mentor who you can trust and having connection to your peers really matters and helps mitigate the negative impacts of those childhood effects or childhood impacts. One of our parents wrote, our teen attends an alternative online school program because health conditions currently make in-person schooling a bad fit. CultureWorks has become one of their primary social engagements, one that gets them into community with other people, both their age and adults. It has become their favorite enrichment activity, sparking imagination, building up what they see themselves as capable of, and giving them something to look forward to. So that gives me joy. I have a beautiful letter from Yadira at Upward Bound. We partnered with them last summer to provide a whole summer worth of free programming for their students. And she writes about the importance of arts and culture in building essential skills like creative problem solving and focus and collaboration and resilience. But I'll read the second paragraph on. It says, the impact of this partnership was clear. One student who often hesitates to participate in academic classes came alive in the studio, discovering confidence and leadership while working on a collaborative art piece. Another described art as a tool for managing stress, noting how it helped them return to their academic coursework more focused. These experiences underscore the ways in which the arts enrich students' overall educational journey and prepare them for success beyond high school. We were also deeply impressed by the work of Miranda and Jair, whose creativity, patience, and relational approach created an atmosphere where students felt safe to try things and grow. They offered far more than instruction. They fostered a community of belonging and exploration. So I just love, she offered that as a letter of support for our community foundation grant, which we got this year. Hallelujah. It's a really hard grants to get. So I appreciated their partnership this summer. One of the pieces that we worked on with them this summer is in the back. It's the large collaborative botanical print, and all the students contributed to that piece. All right, I want our students to speak for themselves a little bit, so I have a video. This was put together by Emmanuel Silva Lopez this past year, and it highlights some of our Visiting Artist Series events. One of those was held here at church. So you'll see the Tortilla Social in there, and also our participation in Tulip City Walls Festival. And you'll get to hear from 4 of our graduating Student Advisory Council seniors. 2 of them are here today. So you'll get to ask them questions later. But enjoy this little video.
My name is Annabelle.
My name's Oliver and Ryan.
I am Ryan Gonzalez.
My name is Greta Christensen. I've been taking classes at CultureWorks since pretty much as long as I can remember.
I've been coming to CultureWorks for about 7 years now.
I have been coming to CultureWorks since the summer between my 9th and 10th grade.
I've been coming to CultureWorks since 8th grade, and I'm a high school senior now. So what is that, 5 years? That's so long. The first class I ever took was Open Studio. That was my introduction to CultureWorks. It was like entering this big, beautiful, warm hug because everyone was so excited. It was so fun, and I had access to all these artistic resources and these really cool teachers, and I was just like getting to interact with everybody in a really cool way, and I liked that. I thought that was super awesome. At CultureWorks, not only do we provide students with artistic materials, we also provide them with amazing adults that they get to talk to and experience these really cool classes with. We do college visits, we do all of these really cool community involvement things. We put on community events and participate in community events. So there's just so many opportunities and ways to be involved in CultureWorks besides just taking classes here. But that's also a really amazing part of CultureWorks too, because they're super accessible classes. It's not like just art, it's like music, it's poetry, it's like all kinds of art, and it's not a very student-teacher kind of aspect. It's more so a student can come in and teach what they know about whatever the art is, and you're able to learn from the student, and so then you can learn from a bunch of other students and teachers, so you're all gaining knowledge from whoever would like to share.
I think art in culture work is really entwined with the individual. Like a lot of the teachers and instructors do a great job at asking students, so what do you want to draw? What do you want to put into the world?
In cultures all across the world, there is some aspect of art which I think is really beautiful because it shows how human it is to create art, right? It's not something, I mean, yeah, it can be something that you're skilled at, but it's not something you need to be skilled at to do. Anyone can pick up a pencil or a paintbrush and they can create something that somebody will think is beautiful. I'll miss a lot of things, but I think a main one is definitely the community that you get here. I've made a lot of friends. Having somewhere every week to go and hang out with people and, you know, be productive and do art, but also just to laugh and have fun and having that to rely on every Monday to come and do.
It is a really good way to get to know people. Maybe you see your neighbor there and you're like, oh, hey, yeah, I know you. And you're both at this event and you're doing art together, and it's a very wholesome thing.
I'll miss the community a lot. I think the strength of CultureWorks is it's really such a big area. There's so many students from so many schools coming here, but it still really feels like personal. Just come, be yourself, express. It's a break from homework. It's a break from everything. It's just saying, what do you want to put into the world in these 2 hours? What do you think is important to express about yourself?
I really like the community events that we do at CultureWorks. It's really fun. We get to sort of show off a little bit how cool and awesome we are, and we also get to see everybody else in the community coming together and making art together, or whatever the community event is about, just being together. Art is a very important part of community. It gives people the opportunity to create art in a healthy outlet kind of way. It lets them express themselves in ways that maybe they're not able to within their daily lives.
I just wasn't raised in like a super artistic household. It wasn't something actively blocked for me, but it was something I'd never really been introduced in a way. Besides school classes, which I never really connected to, because at school it felt like art was something that had to have like an importance of a grade. So you get an A, or you didn't like draw your line straight enough to understand this concept, so you get a lower grade, which led to me basically always avoiding art classes. But then kind of coming here, and especially in high school, it made art so much more of a more enjoyable thing. So just that opportunity to come and experiment with art, not just as through the finished product, but through the journey and the learning of the do art was great.
I think being a part of a community that has been so essential to my growth, but being here from such a young age, everybody being so supportive of me as I grew, and then getting to give back to that community by being the facilitator, by being a part of SAC, by participating in classes, and just getting to join this big, beautiful community that is so focused on all of these beautiful, positive things and wants to create a space where anybody feels welcome and anybody can access it. And I feel like there's not a lot of spaces like that in communities. I think that's hard to find, and I think that will be something that's hard to find as I leave. It's just somewhere that I feel so connected to from growing up here through CultureWorks.
They're pretty great, aren't they? They make me cry every time. Yeah, a couple of things from there that just hit me is the number of times our students said community. Again, it goes back to that relationship building piece. We don't just teach art. I think sometimes people look at our website and they're like, oh cool, an art school. No, not really. Like, it's a community of artists. And another thing is just having this space for that tortilla social was amazing, and I think we requested that, I think 2 weeks ahead of time from the event. So we had so many people register for that event that we were looking for a bigger space, and this was just perfect. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of our community at CultureWorks. Some things that we're celebrating over the past year. The successful launch of that Visiting Artist series that not only saw us bring Salvador for those events, but also we had 2 career speaker panels in which we brought artists and professionals from all walks of life in different career paths to talk with our students about how they got where they are and what they do as designers and as artists. And these are folks intentionally chosen because they represent different backgrounds and experiences in getting there. We had an artist in residency program and exhibit by J.R. Medina. And we took 16 students to Chicago for 3 days, which was a little bit crazy and awesome. So our SAC grew, our Student Advisory Council grew to 16 students and took on a lot of new responsibilities this year. And we switched from that pay what you can afford system to free programming in June. Part of the reason we did that was we had feedback from parents and teachers and students saying, we just can't do it this year. We used to be able to sign up for 2 classes, now we can only do 1. We used to be able to afford 40%, and now we just can't do it at all. And we kept telling them, it's pay what you can afford, just don't pay anything this year, it's your choice. We don't ask for an application or anything like that. But psychologically, if you used to be able to afford something and now you can't, they didn't want to be taking a spot from someone else who might be worse off. So people were registering at the same rate. As soon as we switched over to that free model, we over doubled the number of students who were enrolling. So it really was a really fascinating psychological learning for me on how people, just make decisions like that. So we had, as I said, 75 students in the summer of 2024. This year we registered 173, and we still had 50 on the waiting list from June until September. It's been a lot. Our staff has been super stretched. And we had a lot of new students. When that first started happening, that first week of registrations, and I get alerts every time someone registers, and I was blown away. I started looking into the data. Are we serving the same students? Are we meeting our targets of hitting the students that we really want to recruit? And we were. So that was too a relief, but also really exciting that it was accessible for everybody. And we did a lot of advocacy this year that we're celebrating with our partner organizations. IM Academy, we did the celebration in March with them. We celebrated diversity with like 6 other organizations through a banner project. So we love working together with our partners in our community. We are celebrating revenue this year. As I said, last June we had no idea what to expect in 2025, 2026. We had gotten, for the first time, an MI LEAP grant. It's an out-of-school time grant, and it's a really difficult one to get and to manage. So they have a 3-day required training for it last year that we had to drive up north for. We thought we were going to die in a snowstorm. That's how difficult it is. It's a 3-day required training. And then they had so many organizations giving back funding because to manage it and to comply with it is even more difficult. So they had so many organizations giving back funding that they reached out to us and said, "You are doing great things. Can we give you another $14,400? Yes, you may. So we're just celebrating that. We did receive that grant again this year, but because of the budget negotiations taking so long and the shortened grant cycle, it was capped at $7,000 lower, even though we're doing the same amount of work. So that's unfortunate. We're right on target with a 5-year plan, and when we set out that plan 2.5 years ago, I thought there was kind of no way that we'd meet that. So I'm pretty excited about that. We have a strong and diversified revenue stream with new grants from Miller Knoll last year, MI LEAP and Shine Foundation, and renewed giving from major donors. We saw, as I wrapped up 2025, end of the year, we saw a lot more numbers of giving at a lot smaller amounts, if that makes sense. And I think that's kind of been across the board with other community partners as well. We've invested over the past year in 10 new laptops through that state grant with the capacity for video processing and 3D design and illustration. And we made use of that this summer. We had a student who's now studying at College for Creative Studies who has been doing 3D design and printing since they were in 5th grade. So they are really good at it, and probably not even going to complete their degree because they're going to be swept up and swept away by someone recruiting. So we brought them back on to teach 3D design for the first time this summer, which was really great. And we started a new partnership last summer with Lauren Garza, who is a member of the Holland Symphony Orchestra, and she taught free violin and viola lessons here on site and also at Heights of Hope this summer. So we're really excited about that for this time. We are celebrating a full team. This is the first time we had a full board of directors of 12, and that is a relief and really exciting. At the pandemic, I think at the trickiest point we got down to 3 board of directors because it was a pandemic and it's really hard to recruit people. So really excited about the engagement of those 12 folks. And then we're celebrating professional development. I was able to participate in Lead 24/7, which through the Community Foundation and through Inspiring Impact, which Mike Gorehouse is a part of. So incredible to be part of that group this year in particular with all of the uncertainties and navigating new things as a nonprofit. Really grateful for that opportunity. Abby and I, who Abby spoke with me last time, did a Speaking with Influence boot camp. And I just heard from Abby this week, who's right here, that she's going to finish up some prerequisites that are needed, but like from high school days, and then apply to GVSU. I don't know if you remember Abby's story, but high school was really traumatic and difficult. It took her 6 years to get through. So to hear that Abby wants to go back to school because she fell in love with data science by working for CultureWorks is crazy to me, and super awesome, so yay. And then Miranda and I are going to head to the National Convention for the NAEA, the National Art Education Association, in March. be the first time that any of our staff have gone to that. And Miranda and I are both liberal arts trained, so we're pretty excited to dig further into that arts education piece. Our returning teachers this year include 4 graduates out of CultureWorks, and so again, we just love seeing the ability to keep mentoring and to keep training them as leaders. It's the first time we're fully staffed. This is our team as of last week. We've got 2 volunteers in there, Kendall and Ava, who are with Ready for Life from Hope College, and that's the first time that we're partnering with that program, so we're pretty excited to have them. Addie Lembright is also in there, and she is a college intern through the Borchter Center at Hope College. And she was born in Michigan, but grew up in Thailand, and is really incredible. She's studying art, studio art and community art pedagogy, which I didn't even know was a thing. I'm so excited. So she's super awesome. Blake Matthews, we just onboarded last week, and he's our new studio manager. And I am so grateful not to have to manage the studio, because I've been doing that ever since we found a studio. So that's super exciting. Blake comes from GVSU, where he managed the visual arts studio there and also did some teaching. And then Evan Nickel is our new hospitality, ceramic studio technician, and STEAM program coordinator. I wrote that job description after meeting with Evan for over 2 hours, and I was so impressed by the breadth and depth of his interests and learning and how much he aligned with our mission at CultureWorks. I wrote a job description for him and hired him pretty much on the spot. So we're really excited to have him. He graduated with a biomechanical engineering degree from Hope College last year and worked in a company and decided that he'd actually rather be an artist. So he'd been volunteering with CultureWorks, and he is a classically trained pianist. He knits. He pretty much does everything. He's a ceramicist. So yeah, really incredible, like, Renaissance guy that we're excited to have in the studio. So looking ahead, we are looking at building out a music production program. Miranda has a music recording degree from Hope College, and now with Evan on board as a musician, we've offered our first our songwriting class in collaboration with Escape Ministries, which is a 9-week class. We're using their recording studio to record the students' music that they've written. And we had more interest in it than we had anticipated. It's gone really well. So we're looking to build out that as a program, because really in doing music production is this beautiful integration of sound engineering and physics and all the things that we can teach kids about. So we're really excited about that piece. So I wrote a grant last week. We're looking for $30,000 in funding for equipment that will help build that out, but also staffing, increasing those staff hours for Evan as he builds out a STEAM program. Oh, one of the other things is he also led science camps at Hope College, those summer science camps that are like super cool, right? So he's taught all ages. We could build that out at CultureWorks. And yeah, super exciting. And then music programs as well. I think between Laura Garza and these 2 musicians, we could have some really great free music programs for students in our community. We're hoping to continue that summer partnership with Lauren, and we're hoping to continue our partnership with Escape. As I said, they have a beautiful sound recording studio there. And we are also looking for alternative locations to teach those songwriting classes. We've been doing it at Escape, but we'd love a space where we can like break out and have more spaces for students to write their music. And then we're also looking at a new partnership with Lexi Rosado of Became Brave. She does spoken word and poetry, storytelling. Oh, Evan does poetry too, because why not? And public speaking workshops. And so, yeah, just looking at the ways that we can build out that performing arts part of our program. Super exciting. Board development. Our board president is retiring from the board, and so we are seeking a new board president and chair with particular experience in capital campaigns, board management, and expansion. We've had interest from folks in Grand Haven of expanding programs there. We have been looking at expanding programs into Zealand because in both of those places there aren't a lot of options for students for after-school arts programming. So we're looking at that. I'm meeting next week with a industrial designer who's like, have you ever thought about offering industrial design? I said, I would absolutely love to offer industrial design classes at Hope College or at CultureWorks. Like, please come and meet with me and we'll talk about that. So lots of opportunities. And then looking ahead at our spring program, within 24 hours of posting our spring classes, all but 5 seats were filled. which is crazy. We knew that would kind of happen just looking at summer registrations, so we actually reached out first to our public school counselors and teachers to give them a heads up. So a lot of those first day registrants were enrolled because of those recommendations. And we're excited about a new 9-week D&D class with Phil Quinn. We did 4 weeks with Phil for our middle schoolers in September, and it went really well. We love the way that Phil integrates storytelling and character development, even a little performing arts, but also therapy within his D&D campaigns. And we think therapy and D&D is great. You don't know what D&D is. Sorry, Dungeons and Dragons. So it's a role-playing game where you basically are creating a character and then role-playing a story together. So you go on a quest and you battle giants and things. I've not played. Phil is, it's called a dungeon master, the person who runs the story, and Phil is magnificent at that. And we're also building out, we've added 2 seats in all our photography, open studio, and animation classes to try to get in as many kids as we can off those waiting lists. We currently have 83 enrolled and 26 on our waiting list for spring. Looking ahead at transportation, for about 2 years now, our staff have been utilizing their own vehicles for transportation. Because renting a van is super expensive and no one will give us a van. Like, I've written 8 grants, no one funds the purchase of vehicles. It's insane. So we're looking for a 12-passenger van or another corporate sponsor who will sponsor that monthly rental of a van. We provide weekly transportation for over 25 students from Holland Public Schools and West Ottawa Public Schools. We drive to 6 schools sometimes in a day, so we send out 2 drivers. And we provide transportation for all of our field trips, which are really instrumental in training our kids. And for our fall leadership retreat, each fall we take kids on a 3-day leadership retreat. And then we also go off-site to partner organizations like IAM Academy and Escape, Herrick Library, and things like that, where we bring students for those daily classes. So having our own vehicle is really kind of essential. We are also looking at some big events this year, which is exciting. We have the Levitate Arts Festival that CultureWorks has been a part of planning and organizing. It will be a full-day arts and culture festival in February. So February 21, we're currently recruiting artists and performing artists for that. We'd love to have you be there. Our students who are in the songwriting class, several will be performing in that, so we're really excited about that. We're also going to have a big concert, a 15th anniversary birthday bash at Park Theater on March 19th, so hopefully you can come out to that and enjoy some, hearing some of our students perform as well there. And we're bringing back our bowl sale. Some of you joined us last year for that, where we raised over $4,000 so we could purchase a full-size kiln. So we're going to be making more pottery for that. So excited to maybe have you guys there in April to join us. Okay, for those of you who made it to our fall benefit, know that we've been sitting with the idea of wayfinding this year, thanks to our Student Advisory Council who helped choose that theme. And part of that has been looking at collective movement. And in thinking about this year, that has been so essential to my comfort and my motivation and knowing who we are and where we're going as a community, because a lot of times I wake up and I'm like, where are we going as a nation, right? It's top of mind this year. Where are we heading as a nation? And I still can't tell you, but I know where we're heading as a community. I know where we're going together, and that's exciting. So I talked about the swarms of starlings and starling murmurations at our fall benefit, and how that for me has painted this picture of moving together in mass to accomplish great things. And so I just hold that image in my head when I get discouraged, that we are, as a community, building beautiful things. We are, as a community, moving in beautiful ways. And so that's a great thing. All right, our Student Advisory Council. This is our 16 for this year. We have some of them here today. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves in just a bit, and then you will be allowed to ask us all questions. So we're celebrating that they grew from 12 to 16 students. They took on new leadership this year, including leading their own meetings. So we have a student facilitator, Anna, who leads those meetings. And then they designed and executed a whole sculpture project, an exhibit that went on tour to Hemlock Crossing and Herrick Library and Outdoor Discovery Center. I'll show you pictures in a minute. If you have a space where you can display large things, you'll see them in a second. We don't have room for them at our studio. We are full up to our ears. We're trying to figure out how to hang them from the ceiling. So if you want to display these things, please let me know. And then the students invited Dr. David Myers to come out and speak about the psychology of misinformation. And we were really pleased with that learning opportunity with him. So these are the sculptures they worked on. They were looking at endangered species in our community, in our region, and built using recycled and repurposed materials. So those are some photos of them being displayed at Hemlock Crossing. So, oh, this is my last slide. Fall Leadership Retreat, we did it out at Into the Woods this year, and we just love this opportunity to look at the history and the future of our organization, look at the students' role in leading it, and to think about our mission and vision and strategies for the year ahead. So I'm going to leave that up. You guys are going to come up and introduce yourselves and share one thing about CultureWorks this year that you've enjoyed, maybe a project that you worked on that you're excited about. And then we'd love to have questions from you all. So,
Got the microphone.
yep, so this is for you guys. Come on up. Join me. All right, you're first, Annabelle.
Great. Okay. Hello. My name is Annabelle. I'm a high school senior at Black River Public School, and what am I sharing? Something I love about CultureWorks. I love everything about CultureWorks. You probably heard me yap about it in the video for a really long time. I love creating art. I always have, and I've grown so much because of CultureWorks. So I really appreciate that.
My name is Esther. I also go to Black River. I'm in 10th grade. And I appreciate CultureWorks because like at school, I don't have the space in my schedule to take an art class. And I've always wanted to do art because it's cool. But yeah, so now I can do that at CultureWorks.
I'm Greta. I'm a senior at Holland High School, and one thing that I like about CultureWorks is sometimes when we have like student advisory council, sometimes we are given like we do some sort of like creative thing, and so we're all kind of having like a similar idea of like what we're doing for like a project or something, and just like all the different things that everybody does, like it's such a wide range of like, oh, I didn't even think about like approaching it from that direction, so I like that.
Thanks, you guys. All right, we are opening it up to questions,
So thank you for an excellent presentation with an excellent video as well. Whoever created that certainly deserves a pat on the back. I have kind of two questions. The first covers all of you. I want to know a little bit about the history of how you get connected. And Emily, what's your story? Your educational background is not in the arts, but here you are leading an arts organization. And I'm also interested in knowing how students get connected. I mean, you have this great response, but you've spoken a little bit to this. Don't schools have art classes? Why do we need CultureWorks? My second question, totally unrelated, is whether you're looking at making any use of AI-generated art, or whether that's the antithesis of what you're doing.
I'll answer that one first. We are very much against AI at CultureWorks. I introduced the idea of joining Monday.com, which I don't know if you utilize that as a task management resource last week, and our new studio manager said, don't they use a lot of AI in that program? So yeah, our students and staff are very aware of the energy levels used by AI, so we do not utilize that or recommend it as an organization. I don't know what our students do with AI, but that's that part. As far as my connection to CultureWorks, yeah, I had been tagged onto the board by Joel Tanis in 2016. He said, Emily, you're an artist. I can't do meetings. Do you do meetings? Can you do this thing? So he tagged me on and got off the board. And I had went in studying in the Middle East, so I studied both in Israel, Palestine, and in Morocco. And in those programs, both of them, I studied the arts in those locales. And specifically the way that arts brought communities together and also created a sense of understanding and collective belonging, even in a war zone, right? There were very few things at that time. I was in Digital Palestine in 1993, 94, and there were very few things that were working on the ground as far as creating bridges and for the divides. But one of the things was the arts and community foundations. So, so that was exciting, and it's always stuck with me. So when I got a chance to join the board, I said, yes, absolutely. We had postcards at the time that said, you've been recommended for a free class. And I said, how many can I give out? And she said, all of them. I'm like, I'll make more. So I was just thrilled that we had this space for teens back then. I've loved it ever since. Yeah, how did you guys get involved?
Well, for me, it's kind of different than other students because at least my mom. So I've actually been going to cultures classes since before I was in middle school. So actually, I was younger than everybody else in the classes. I was kind of just there. As like a kid, I didn't have anywhere else to go. Just but that was also a really great experience because I didn't feel like I didn't belong. Right? I still felt like I was, doing art with the cool kids. So that was fun.
I think my friend Lily, who's also her sister, invited me to do a open studio class in maybe like 8th grade, and yeah, so I did that.
My mom found out about it somehow through some form of advertising that CultureWorks did. And because I was in middle school at this time, so I don't exactly remember how, but she was like, you need to go here. This looks really cool. And I went, and it was great. I think students get connected through each other a lot, them going back to school and being like, hey, I took this class, it was really cool, you should come back with me, next time they offer classes. And then we also put out flyers and promotional content as well.
Oh, yeah, I don't need that. Yeah, we network with hundreds of area therapists and counselors, teachers in schools, teachers outside of schools, physicians, the juvenile justice system, all our partner organizations to recruit students. And so we have a whole network of people that we send out digital information to, but we also do flyers and send those home with students through their schools. So lots of different avenues for getting connected. But yeah, we typically try to reserve a couple spots throughout the year, open spots where physicians or therapists can call during the year and just say, I need a place for this kid, do you have a spot open? And a lot of the arts that we do are very accessible, so for non-artists. We do that intentionally so that we can partner with other organizations, but also so that we can bring in kids who just need a safe space to grow. And so a lot of the art forms that we do, we intentionally teach them very open, accessible ways where you don't have to be a gifted artist in order to make beautiful things. Questions? Did I answer them all? Okay.
Any of you who joined the Hope Church congregational meeting today will learn from looking at the budget that as a community partner, which CultureWorks is, the Hope Church contribution to CultureWorks for the coming year in the budget has doubled. So it's from a $1,000 participation to a $2,000 participation. So that's a connection, and I'm the deacon who gets to introduce that stuff today, so for those of you who aren't coming, okay.
What is the historical connection between Hope Church and this organization? Where did it come from?
It was just
Who?
me. So Peter and I were looking for a new church home during the pandemic. The church that we were involved in at the time didn't believe in things like masks. Or science, sadly. So we just needed a safe place. He's a physician, and I was working at this arts organization where we serve tons of kids. We needed a place where we could protect our own health and that we could grow. And so we found Hope Church and a lot of our former professors from Hope College, and it just immediately felt like home to us. So yeah, I think just being here and knowing your value for the arts, I've had opportunities to speak about it with several of you.
And if I could just amplify that, I'm on the Community World Committee that helps make that recommendation too. And we love to support things that our own members are invested in the way that you are. And what you've presented here is perfect for Hope Church to be supporting too, because of your mission is very much our mission as well.
how you serve students with disabilities?
That's a great question. So yeah, I brought in Lakeshore Disability Network, is that the right acronym? A year and a half ago to do an assessment of accessibility in our space. That was super helpful. So it is fully accessible, although it's tricky because we keep adding new equipment and more students. And so technically it's accessible for wheelchair folks. But we also have provided translation in both Spanish and ASL over the past year when that has been needed. We do love being a place where everybody can come and thrive. So yeah, we try to meet all the needs as they are. We also do a lot of training with our staff on how to provide the best supports for neurodivergent kids. We've seen a huge increase in the number of neurodivergent kids in our program, and so sometimes that means having a one-on-one staff member who's in that classroom with the student. Sometimes the student will bring their own aid with them, but making those accommodations as far as we can.
I haven't heard you say anything about volunteer opportunities.
That's a good question. Yeah, it's a tricky one because everyone wants to volunteer with the students. So a couple of caveats with that. We do ask that if you're in our classrooms that you commit to a full semester because of those relationships. And because teens, do you guys like when strangers just show up? Yeah, no, it's not good. So we do ask for long-term commitments if you want to be with students. Other volunteer opportunities can be mentorship outside the program. So if you are a person who is tangentially related to art and design in your career and your training and want to get involved, we would love to have open up our network of folks who can mentor students into different career paths. Other ways that you can get involved are on our board of directors. If that interests you at all, please do talk to me. And committees and planning also. We have lots of different committees and education and the arts and things like that we would love to build out with folks who know things. Yeah.
This is a question for the students. When you've gone to classes, have you stumbled into if you went in thinking, I'm a sculptor, and then suddenly you discover a love for music, or I'm going to do woodworking, but no, I prefer clay instead. What has surprised you, or what new avenue have you explored that caught fire in your brain and in your hands?
So for me, I came into CultureWorks. I was really interested in pursuing lots of different kinds of art, but I hadn't really done that before. I was mostly just drawing nature drawings and drawings of people, and then I came to CultureWorks and I learned screen printing and block printing, which is now one of my favorite forms of art, of all time, carving stamps. I learned how to paint. I learned how to do so many different things. I learned how to do natural dyes, and so the world of opportunities of what I can now do creatively is so expanded since coming to CultureWorks.
When I came to CultureWorks, I didn't really know what I was gonna do because I didn't take any art classes and stuff. But yeah, I've tried a lot of different things. I like collages and yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'll say that CultureWorks is nice because they have a lot of different opportunities for doing art forms that you wouldn't really be able to do just on your own. You don't have a kiln in your house. You can't really do wet ceramics. You can maybe do air dry ceramics, but that's really different. But yeah, I like doing ceramics, and that's nice that CultureWorks is a space where I can go in and throw on the wheel. I could maybe do that at my high school. I can go into my art room sometimes, and even though I'm not taking a ceramics class, sometimes my teacher would let me go on the wheel. But yeah, it's really nice to be able to do things like that. I've really gotten into clay at CultureWorks.
We have over 20 kids enrolled in our open studio class on Wednesdays, which is a really incredible time that they get to make full use of our whole studio. And we have at least 5 staff members for that on site who are involved in different art forms. And so a lot of mentors can kind of help them navigate the different equipment and tools and things like that. So it's really fun.
This is for the students. Middle school, high school, struggle with self-esteem, how you feel about yourself, your social connection with the world, with your
culture work impacted your self-esteem?
I'll say it's definitely improved it, and that's one thing that I wish that I did more of, because even though Emily is my mom and I've had this opportunity to do classes, I didn't really utilize that for like a long time in like middle school and stuff. I didn't really take classes. I took a couple, but I wish that I did it more, because it's really been a good thing to have this community to go through every week. I said that in the video also, to just kind of like be around people that, you know, it's just really a good community. Like everybody belongs there, even if they've never been there before. Like we welcome new members, and it's like, oh, it feels like you've been here the whole time, because you know, it's a really great place to be.
Yeah, also, like, I feel like, because of school, I get, like, a lot stressed, and CultureWorks helps me, like, not be as stressed, and, like, yeah, it's, like, a nice place to, like, relax and be with my friends and stuff.
So, for me, my self-esteem was really, really, really low in middle school. I was insecure, I was super anxious, and then being at, you know, high school and middle school, it doesn't really help, because you're mostly in classes. The socialization, it's minimal. Like you know, there's not a ton of. So like coming to CultureWorks and hanging out with students from all these different schools, I grew so much in my social skills, because I was interacting with so many different types of people. And I grew in my confidence, both in myself and in my art. We do something at the end of classes, most classes, where we'll go around and share art. And I used to be so nervous and insecure to share my art, and now I do it so easily, because I've gotten so used to everyone being so accepting and excited about it. And it means something coming from teachers and adults, but it's more powerful coming from other students. And so being able to like have other students encourage me has been huge for my self-esteem.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That was something that I was going to mention too, that giving and receiving a feedback piece is really huge. We also provide really nutrition-based snacks for our students, and I think having food together, right, creates a sense of community, which is really great and builds, a sense of belonging as well.
David, do you have a question or a comment? Because we don't have one.
It's a wrap-up comment.
All right.
I just want to say two things I've gotten out of this morning as somebody who's known about CultureWorks. One is I wasn't aware of the extent of the partnership applications of going out and connecting and providing supportive services to other organizations. Second thing is that I've always seen it as sort of arts education, but from the student comments and your comments, Emily, the dimension that's come through strongly is community building. And the thought has struck me that a lot of kids find that through sports and being on football team or volleyball team or whatever, but a lot of people don't, they have interests and abilities that run in a different direction. And so this is sort of like the same community building, connecting experience for in an extracurricular way, in a different sort of way, in addition to its arts. So anyway, thank you very much.
No, thank you for mentioning that. That's something that I connect with a lot personally too. I was involved in sports, and I know the value of those mentorships, the things that you learn at working as a team, collaborating and playing together. A lot of our students don't have that experience, and so having a space where kids who aren't involved in youth group or sports or other after-school things can be mentored in that same way is huge.
Thank you. Sorry, I really have to cut this off.
Yeah, you got
Thank you very much for coming. And thank you, Emily and students, for sharing today. I really appreciate that, telling us about what you do and about CultureWorks is wonderful. Thank you. I have two announcements. One is to our online people, I must apologize that I didn't announce earlier that our audio cable is having problems today. So we've already received a text message that the audio was not great for our online people today. So we do apologize for that, but know that we are working on this and trying to improve that for the people who join us at home as well. I have new directions for what we need to do to flip this room. And we have some anxious people who are ready to help make this happen. So please listen because it's different this time, because we're gonna have more people for congregational meeting, we hope. So we need 3 rows, yes, as usual, 3 rows, 6 tables, not 5, 6 tables in each row with 9 chairs around each table. So 4 on a side with 1 on the end facing this direction, because that'll be where the Jumbotron is. So 3 rows, 6 tables, each row, 9 chairs around each table. And if you could have a little extra time to help set those tables, like those tables back there are already beautiful, they could be your example. Like those tables back there are already set, that would be wonderful. Thank you all very much. We appreciate this. Thank you.
Next week.
Oh, next week, yes, thank you. Thank you, Judy. Next week, Steve Norden and other participants who went to Oman will be participating and telling us about the trip that they took to Oman and the Alamana Center last November. So we will hear about that next week. Thank you.